Mimi ni mwalimu wa English. Mimi ni mwalimu wa English. Chit Chat with Dr Meg came about ekerena alingi nanyendete go kwanira mangana ya mental health, gender-based violence, conversations yechi chiri abantu batatete ko bring out so open. So Chit Chat umaitini conversation yeri mo gutwara under a very easy environment, but you create room for any kind of conversation. No chiri abantu batanjiti go kwanira mono lakini mo ko engage in that kind of exchange, and just to get to know more about something. So I founded the Chit Chat with Dr Meg as a means for valibande vagwetera amangana buna gender-based violence nonye mental health egere vanyore forum weri bara kwane some of these conversations to kwanire everything. It is not just what is in the public domain. It is also those conversations that are often ignored. But in the real sense, it breaks our whole relationship. It breaks our marriage. It ruins friendship. Yeah. Those personal conversations that if you allow someone to talk, then they would have aired what they feel, and it can give them opportunity, and your views, or they can even get advice. So Chit Chat with Dr Meg creates a forum for you to speak up, share. It is always an open forum, sometimes also inbox. I speak a lot with people. I have guided on matters to do with mental health. I have spoken on individual level, amangana gender-based violence, particularly intimate partner violence, and we continue to allow people because mental health originates and the tavantu bonega. Umuntu ku privately chandike birengereli paka oike point yata iteku engenta. Yes. You know, so I give you an opportunity to share on what you're going through, and also if you need counseling services, they are available. Yes. Chit Chat lerongo korere mentorship, empowerment of different groups, research because I'm an expert in that field, and many.
I wonder why I never met you earlier, but now easy English share. So thank you so much, We have one of us from Chit Chat with Dr Meg. Yes, I am loving that name. Hii ningekuwa high school ile tunajiita AKA alikuwa anaitwa AKA Chit Chat with Dr Meg. Thank you so much. And so far with the aims and mission and mission that you have for the team, so far how the journey been?
The journey before Chit Chat, I have had a passion. Far back in 2014 when I enrolled for my PhD at Kisii University.
You're a doctor?
Yes.
Hey, my Lord.
So when I enrolled for my PhD, I was very actively involved. I was easily mentored by the likes of Professor Kalen Nyamwange Bono, and I easily fit into that space of activism and let me talk about advocacy. One to organize chi forums, to chi work, sensitization exercises right from Kisii University. And as time went by, the passion was so deep. I'm also a full-time teacher.
Yes.
So there was that full-time job, and then there was me studying part-time, as well as I'm engaging in activism. So I would always ensure, especially in the period, things to do with children, women, youth, the elderly empowerment programs, I was very active. So by the time 2023, we can go to graduate in a PhD. I had this thought of starting my own organization, but I hadn't formulated even the name.
Yes.
But when all along, whenever I went for these events and functions, I identified with Kisii University because at that time I was their student. Only Kerena Chako graduate, and I had the papers that I needed. I formulated Chit Chat with Dr Meg. It's now an organization. Not yet fully funded, but I do the funding myself. And it's been over 6 months now.
Yeah.
And it's doing very well. It's doing very well. I have so many partnerships, and I have so many friends here there. I have a good number of followers, and the programs I'm able to also sell Chit to the next level. I have a small team that works on volunteer basis, but as time goes by, the structures are coming out very well.
You know, there is something about ladies with short hair, you know, the brain and everything. Mimi nilijaribu kunyoa, nilijaribu kunyoa lakini mbona siwafiki? Ni nyota yangu. Where do you face when you are praying? Which side of the mountain do you face when you guys are praying? Because brains and ideas and everything, whatever you're doing, it is a good thing, and we really appreciate what you're doing in the society. But now, asa matukaiga right now, na matukari whatever 16 days of activism, and kwabere as a game, maybe even before you found Chit Chat, kwenye kuibuli kule 16 days of activism, wakataka kumanyanga kikiaringe, no magusinare gari tetabe gagotebwe gentekiga someone wiki gusi, you know, kuru twachagete wiki yeta. I don't think, have I brought someone? Have I? Let me. So I think most of the conversations have had them on phone, because with different organizations in the 16 days of activism, but they was like, why not? 16 days of activism. So tell us about it. 16 days of activism. Why 16 days? So far, what is the progress?
Thank you. 16 days of activism. It's an international activity that was formulated several years ago. I think in the 1960s or about, and it champions for it creates awareness. It's a period of awareness creation of different forms of gender-based violence that have thrived over the years. And when it was founded, by the way, ilikuwa all about women and girls. Even up to now, we are still really looking at the plight of women and girls. Although men, what about us? Why are you not also speaking for us? But you know, even if men are undergoing violence, and I want it to be known that we are aware. Personally, I have interacted, I have had sessions with men who are facing gender-based violence. The numbers and the statistics, numbers don't lie. What is in the public domain, the data that has been collected, statistics that are research that has been conducted, still indicates that women and girls suffer more when it comes to all these forms of gender-based violence. Also, in those 16 days, there are different days in between. There are days that are clearly spelled out that bring out Amangana GBV. For example, the first day of the 16 days of activism begins on 25th of November. 25th of November, that day is significant with ending violence against women and girls. And then Togo's Kairoman, your World AIDS Day in Jabe Sunday. That one also falls within those 16 days, that is December. And HIV AIDS, in a way, there are aspects of gender-based violence within it. Although it is not that now everybody who has been infected with HIV has been infected because of a violent aspect. But violence is still within it, even how we treat those people who are down with HIV/AIDS. We still end up perpetrating stigma and abintovnebi. And then the last day of the 16 days of activism, itakuwa tarehe 10 of December, and that one is the climax of it, which is Human Rights Day, which now looks at all human beings. But wherever it is that you are, whether you are in Africa, you are in America, are your rights respected? Are you treated as a human being, or you're treated as a lesser being? So all these days, it will mark different things, and it was set aside. It is 16 days, nothing really specific about why 16, but it was 16 days that were set aside internationally to create awareness on all forms of gender-based violence. Now, it is also important that the viewers get this, that we have so many forms of gender-based violence. As much as most people are getting a gender-based violence, ni ile vita kati ya husband and wife. Sio hiyo tu. there is defilement. Defilement is where a person who's above the age of 18 engages in sexual activity with a minor, one who's below the age of 18. And the sexual activity varies. The sexual intercourse. Sometimes it is even just the advances, the touching, specific things that mtu anaweza fanya kwa mtoto mpaka ionekane kwamba huyu amepita ile level ya respect na ameanza kumtreat as if they are luring them into sexual activity. There is rape. Rape affects now the older, the ones who are above the age of 18, forcing somebody into sexual activity. There is, even with rape, there is also gang rape. There is also, especially wale wako university, our students in colleges, they face a lot of what you call date rape. Date rape is where a boy or invites a girl out. Maybe they have the intention of falling in love or engaging in a relationship. Lakini as they go, one point, maybe I'm invite na nene room yae asamenyete college, for example. Then they start, engaging in a bit of interaction here, they are fondling or say kissing a bit. You see, these two people, even the friends, even they are getting into a relationship, or they may even think somebody in a relationship. But maybe one of them, especially the girl, is not ready yet. But sasa kijana alimita ni saa 5 usiku, anamwambia sasa, you're my girlfriend, everybody knows you're my girlfriend. Maybe hata wamekunywa pombe kidogo. Alafu anafanya nini? Ule akijaribu kukataa anamwambia, I'm sorry, I'm not ready for this. Let's try another time. Then this partner does not listen and eventually has their way. We call that date rape. So all those, including female genital mutilation,
yes,
gender-based violence. GBV define any form of violence that is perpetrated against somebody because of their gender. Because the assumption we want to tame the sexual urge. So let us cut it in the name of culture. But still they are very sexually active out here. Has it helped? Yes.
Wow, thank you so much. I guess now it is on black and white. Last week, I've just remembered, we were 16 days of activism, gender-based violence against the intersex children. You know, and the people were like, LGBTQ kwa group akuje kutuambia nini, and you know, at first I was even worried about this, uyu no mwana uivoirwo naringa gientacha kwanyoranga chinse muchia chansoni aziko defined mabati usumwana no mungura usumwana uyu no munyaroka nwenero mwana uyu no gukina kwa etari manya mpaka chegwika kira gocha koteba nganje bono no mumurande usenche you know, and it happened that even the guests that we were having era able to mpakambali ba surgery bagatembo mwana oiga muchenche amo munyaruka okinire karo munyaruka ko ku Florence boniga nari yashite kwemanya kanyoranga yayo mubere chenche rukari kugenda njino musachande my feelings. I want to be a man, and how I do my things I want to be a man. Now this year 2024 nari nyortike bandikia first as a man, and even the process I did bakabantu bachikumwa accept as a man. Akona ID mbili sasa, moja akiwa mwanamke mwingine akiwa mwanamke, and your family, you know, even trying to explain people that you've grown with who have known you as a young girl, as a girl, as a lady, right now they want to identify you as a man, you fighting for yourself in the society. It was a story that I felt like in fact, I thought to see there was a case who started getting around saying internal or the same. When we had to go there and explain, and I know it is not easy to come out from the same. So these things are still happening.
And I hope the guest in studio also informed them that it is in the Constitution.
Yeah. So
right now, intersex
in
is
fact,
in
he
the
was
Constitution.
praying that when people are asking if you are a male or a female, pia wanezeka ile ya intersex, so that nabara watu are I, paka onye no uta kuchenchekere, define it. You get, because article intersex they won't mind. So they were saying, unajua sometimes mtu anaweza kuja kuuliza you man or alafu so unajua ameoa is a man and ID but imeandikwa female.
Female, yes.
And then someone asks you, are you a man
or a woman?
Yeah. You know.
Well, yeah, that is, they suffer a lot, social stigma, sana. But I like that now there are not only organizations, government recognizes them, and then organizations that are enlightening the public. You know, that is why we do awareness creation. We do awareness creation, people do not suffer ignorance. That ignorance is a crime. So that other thing na manity. Mbiote bibonye manity at least just ote bibu go so ori geribine TV na to kwanega egerote benga na manity lakini na manyire rero. Yeah, so all these are conversations that have to be put in the open. Times have changed. Many culture is no longer the same. Right now we are mingling and interacting with people of different cultures. So if we have to move together, then we have to enlighten one another.
I don't know if it was even in my list of questions. Thank you so much, Doro Wanyanchwa. Now, 16 days of activism, is it just in Kenya or in the whole world? Why? For me, I don't see any use of these because our Kenyan ladies don't get help when they are harassed, mostly in Gulf countries. Still, they lose their lives. I saw a story yesterday of a young girl. In Gulf right now, she's asking for help. Kumbe no musumbo ucho service yaba murabenkeyo ojo gacha gakora gasoka no ryoswa akutaba no boniga musubati byabete munangukana manyanga nkuru enseye kinde maremu. So that was the only option I had. Nenda kante binde sana thing yebwaterani unakubol boniga for instance nebwaterani bantaba mbali bocha batumia protection. So at the end of the day, finally I'm going to lose my life with my child here. And they don't want me to say. So I've decided to tell you this. If I die, at least I'm going to have this story. You see. And right now, we don't even know she's alive because she decided to disclose the information. So these situations are happening. Is it just in Kenya or in the world?
This awareness creation is in the world. But it is important to know that the Gulf, the countries that are in the Gulf, remember they are dominated by Muslim. Not that Muslim is a bad religion, but they also have their own doctrines. Some of them also not just the religion, but also their own cultural way of life. Those are countries in which a woman does not have a voice. Those are countries in which a woman will wear a hijab, and when she's fully covered, in the streets, she cannot even look a man straight in the eye. Those are countries where Abana Banyaruka are married off, not because they fall in love. They are married to somebody by the father, for example. If father made a decide, your time for marriage. Exactly. So our women who keep insisting on going to the Gulf, you do it at your own risk. Not that they have not been told. Wale wenye walitangulia, wenye wamesurvive, wamerudi wakawaambia msiende. Wale wenye wameenda huko wamesafa na mumeona. Why would you still throw yourself there in the name of looking for jobs? Hapa Kenya, no, but wanaenda Gulf kutafuta kazi ya house help. Kazi ya house help hapa Kenya bado iko.
Sasa Kenya utalipwa 1000 na huko utalipwa 1030.
But you paid 30,000 at what expense? What are you getting on top of on top of just earning 30,000? You're not going to get comfort. You're not getting comfort. You're going to be used for everything and anything. I would tell our viewers that as much as possible, avoid those countries because of how they run their affairs. You see, you have come from Kenya where already awareness and the human rights and women's rights are well spelled out. Already by the time you are nobody put you down, nobody stopped you from just growing up and being yourself. So you're going into a culture that dictates how they want you to be. Surely it's a big risk you are taking. There are some risks that are not worth taking. You're better off staying in a country like Kenya. If you have to go anywhere, then go to other countries that are not in the Gulf. For now, the Gulf is a dangerous spot on matters GBV. And unfortunately, it is not only perpetrated against our women, those of our girls who go there as house helps. It is also perpetrated against their own women there. So if they can do it to their own, sembuse wewe mwenye unatoka hapa ambaye already uko discriminated by race. Your race is already discrimination.
You know, there is a setting inakonga kwa laptop that for instance when you make WhatsApp na iko kwa Wi-Fi, if you log in it downloads everything automatically, be it a photo, be it a video. So I remember there is this video that was trending of a young girl being killed. You know, venye anapelekwa pale kwa msitu. I know that video was long gone, ilitokanga kitambo. But that video, after we download the other day, a month or two ago, and the lady were able to forest wakamuna wakumu tubakobongo wasarika and everything but I've never recovered from that. Right now, maybe WhatsApp yangu I download nothing. Like sitaingia WhatsApp. So that you download automatic. Nitawacha niende kwa simu yangu so that I download. Like kama I download a laptop, I don't open them. Believe me, because those videos are so traumatizing. Looking at them. Na ekero kwenye oranga bado, we are talking about 16 days of activism. Gender against the violence against
women and
men and even men. Let us say so, because when you have such a very socky gender-based violence, these guys was celebrating Valentine's Day. What are you working to your ladies? In fact, Christmas, Miss Jarulong wear Christmas. Sorry, baby. But the is the only days to miss. We are women. So, right now, I was talking about a story yesterday where a young girl from Kitale, she's a waiter, she's been struggling to study. Ameamua wacha drop out a support boyfriend. Boyfriend anafanya KMTC. You saw the story?
No, I didn't.
The boy ako KMTC, pale Kitale. He's supposed to graduate this Friday. In fact, I said 1 week, but this week Friday. The boy is 4 days away graduation. After KMTC wana graduating the whole country. So the girl akiwa pale waiter ana support the boyfriend. Fununu zimemfikia that the guy is about to graduate na nasi mwenzake waende kuanza maisha. The lady never took it well. So yesterday amemfikisha kwa nyumba, hey babe, we need to talk. Ni ukweli na nani yako kwa life yako, and is it true unamaliza naye shule because now uniacha hapa waita Kitale kijana. So the guy, I don't know, it turned into a fight. The lady took her knife and stabbed the guy 8 times.
Very sad.
A 4th year, supposed to graduate on Sunday or Friday, has rested. Sahi amelala pale mo. Look at the story that right now everybody is talking about. Nyamataroga.
Yes.
The couple. The young lady ametoka maju and everything. Stories, yes, is in a shift and everything. But when you're looking at these stories, when we are celebrating that, when we are talking about 16 days of activism, how does it make you feel? Especially you have an organization, you've really tried to be on the front line to fight this stuff, but they are happening even at a time when you're trying to fight the same.
Matters of the heart are very emotive. That is the starting point. Matters of the heart are very, very emotive. And ndio maana when we talk about GBV, when we come to the one that is about couples, tunaita intimate partner violence. Because ni watu wawili wanapatana, wanapendana. So already kuna ile mapenzi imeingia kwa mix. So you are falling in love, you want to grow old together, and then suddenly issues zinaanza kutokea hapa kule, ama yule mwenye unadhani umependa ugetting anonje temono wacha kwanya ranga they don't love you the same. Nana yeah, ndio saizi tunaambia watu, if you are at that point where in mapenzi you are able to tell huyu mwenye umependa hakupendi the same, sometimes let them go. I personally tell people, let them go. Don't insist on staying. As for the lady educating the man, it's not the first time. Yes, it's not the first time. At mimi, I was in a marriage for 8 years. I was the graduate. He was a Form 4 leaver. But I took loans. I lived with him. I paid rent. Nilinunua chakula. Nilifanya kila kitu. And still, he's the one who beat me. But I left. Nilimwacha. Yes. Na nilimwacha, and here I am 12 years later, very peaceful, very happy. Na yeye penye alibaki pia alichukua maisha yake akaendelea na maisha yake. So usiforce issues. I didn't cry over what I had spent on him. In fact, I'm doing better now than I was doing then.
Wait. Guys, mkiona nimenunulia kijana mtu hata credit, mnipeleke DAYS and counseling.
No, let people learn a thing here. There is no harm in a woman spending on a man. Some of the issues that are emerging out here are emerging because wanema wanauliza, all these years we have spent on women. We know men who have, I have friends wenye wamespend wakasomesha mwanamke wakampeleka paka shule, and then after that this woman akamwacha akaenda akaolewa na mtu mwingine. Look at that heartbreak. So the heart does not break harder when it is on a woman than on a man. Wote tuko na heart moja. So let us learn to be careful how we handle these issues. Ukiingia kwamba umeamua kuspend pesa kwa mtu, whether it is on a man or a woman, kubali kwamba there can be losses. She spent money on him. Kwani was she spending on him because she expected him to automatically? I mean, it is not a must.
This young lady amekuwa akifanya majuu pale, anatumia jamaa pesa nunua shamba, jenga nyumba, nunua gari. Those are millions of money.
Breathe in, breathe out.
You come to a rental bana mtu yote.
But sasa umemuua, alafu umemuua, very good. Umekasirika.
But hata alikuja tena akauawa na jamaa mwenye amekuwa akipea pesa hiyo.
Sasa hapo ndio mambo ni mabaya. Sasa hapo ndio sasa you look at the choice of love. But here you have spent money on someone like the young girl nimesema from Kitale. The waitress. Sasa you spent money on someone, ameenda amesoma, and then amekuja somebody else. Sasa umemuua. It's a love triangle. Umemuua. So he's dead. Then you are going to prison. If you didn't kill yourself, you're going to prison. Who wants to be behind bars?
Mahali tu wendi kuhustle na hiyo uchumi ya Ruto unapewa tu.
But what is the comfort? Tushaitembea prison uone vile wanaishi. I have gone to Kisii prisons. Remember Kisii prisons? I have gone to Kisii prisons, both the male and female prisons. Na kweli, female prisons, a majority kama hapa Kisii, a majority of the prisoners ni wale wamama wanashikwa kwa kuuza chang'aa, vitu kama hizo. Na hao unaonea huruma kwa sababu they are trying to take care of their families. Yeah? The second cases zinapanga mambo na love triangle. Unakasirika sana kwa sababu amependa mwingine, unaua mtu, unaenda behind bars.
I think there is one place man watu are not understanding the assignment. Tulisema ama penzi yenye kugotokora tokori si mtu penzi. You want to love to finish as not people.
Yeah, and let me ask you. From the time you started, you ever got into relationship, how many times have you loved?
Yes, baba, mkona time.
Kwa sababu si wote wenye wana fall in love eti kutoka uingie the age of maybe sasa maturity. Ati yule mwenye ulipenda, the first person uliyoipenda ndio umependa mpaka mkufe na yeye. Very rare. Most times utapenda uachwe, tena ukuje upatane na mwingine upende uachwe, tena mwingine akupende usimtake. Sasa it is how you handle your heart. Na ndio tunaambianga watu safeguard your heart at all times. Kupenda ni vema, lakini safeguard your heart. Number 2, be in control of your emotions. Usikuwe mtu mwenye emotions zinakufanya unafanya vitu zenye Uta-regret. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Be in control of your emotions. Number 3, always know. When it is good, it is good. And this world is made up of good and bad times. Not all times are good. There are good and bad times. If that young girl angewachilia tu, aseme tu ni sawa tu, umenifanya hivi ni sawa tu, this same person mwenye alifanya hivi several years from today would regret. I have a friend mwenye alisomesha mwanamke, akamaliza mwanamke akamwacha, akaenda akashikana na mwingine. This guy suffered a serious heartbreak. Yes. But several years later, he went, settled down, his heart healed, akaenda akapata a different woman who loves him very much and he loves her, wakaanza familia. Sasa akarudi. Nisamee, sikujua, sijui nini, nilidanganywa. Sasa sinaona. Angemuoa yule, angekuwa kwa jela, angekuwa na familia. But akamwacha. Sasa she came to her senses. So it's like that.
So tukubali tu. Tukubali. Okay, I guess since I learned the slogan that you just had a bad day, not a bad life.
Yes.
You know. Yes. So if that happened, it just happened today, and it doesn't mean it is going to happen forever. But we are raised differently, we've grown differently, we have different experiences, we have different ways of handling things. Alafu pia time may change. You know, from being raised to families that are together, to toxic families that stayed together, to separate families that ended terribly and miserably. Like say unapatana ingabuda chingende onyore nini tuko sasa kwa soko wote. Sasa ukitaka kuchagua ile yako kila mtu yake, it will really take time to define even people. Kwanyora bana boniga, alafu we are in a situation where we are calling our parents toxic, we are calling our own siblings toxic, our children are toxic, colleagues are toxic, is toxic. You know, so like times may change, and ukiangalia even some things. I say, even then we ask ourselves, toxic, because our times are even worse than how they are being raised. That being said, today is among the 16 days of activism, and the topic about persons with disability. And let us be honest, but let me start with women when we're talking about persons with disability. I once experienced Nimenda clinic, and then she was in labor. She's disabled. So and she's in labor, so the pain and everything, and people be like, sasa ni umwagani yako huyu mimba. She has feelings with young.
She's human,
She's human. She's having a family. How do you ask that? In fact, she's in labor. That pain, handle, I never wanted to wait. In fact, I left, and that is why I missed my last. That is why I missed my last clinic session. I was so angry. That's what? How can these issues be handled? Come on.
Persons with disability most times are seriously stigmatized and discriminated. There are many na hawakujitakia. One thing I learned when I started engaging in this activism, I learned that you may not have been born disabled, but disability can get you anywhere along the way. I can be in my car, get an accident, I lose my legs. You know, I can be in the kitchen cooking, something happens, suddenly I'm disabled. I'm here putting on spectacles, my eyes can get worse, and in the next few years, I don't see. And that is why when you have that at the back of your mind, then you find a good way, a better way of treating these people who are living with disability. Today being the day that we mark the World International Day of Persons with Disability, and the message this day, the theme is embracing leadership of persons with disability in order to reflect inclusivity and equality. You see, most times, even when people are sitting in an organization or even in the workplace or even in government, when you say even a third gender role, for example, government will decide 2/3 will go to men, for example, then a third will go to women. Then they will take that a third which has gone to women, they will split, they will take a section of it and decide out of the a third, which is a very small percentage, watasema sasa hata hapo ndio mtu wa disability pia atatoka. Yet they had the 2/3 which has male dominated, none with disability, but wanamsqueeze kwa ile kidogo yenye ibaki maybe for the women. That is already discriminating them. Remember, in any structure, when you do not have the numbers, then you do not have people speaking for you. So long as the persons with disability do not have their numbers on the decision-making table, then it means there is no one who is going to speak for them. It took a lot, for example, for the Ministry of Education to finally bring in inclusivity, so that it could look at the needs and rights of children who are disabled.
Or abled differently.
Abled differently, yes. In fact, they had to strictly come up with a whole policy so that now if you go to schools, schools must have ramps, you know. Right now, they must have toilets. If a school doesn't have a toilet, it's already something that has been recommended, that they must have toilets that can cater for these children who are abled differently. For example, those who need wheelchairs and those who have to use any other kind. Yeah, so, and they are integrated into society. Watoto wengi sana wako huko nje wanapitia disability na wazazi wanawaficha. Wamama wengi sana wameachwa kwa sababu walijifungua mtoto ako na disability. Yani hiyo discrimination. So the persons with disability have to be embraced. They are part of us and we have to treat them as human beings. They did not ask for it. The same way you did not ask to be a woman. Nobody asked to be what they are, but you're here, and so society has to embrace them. Today, the Kisii County government, I'm aware because I'm in that group of the 16 days of activism preparation for this period. Kisii County and the civil society organizations, what you call the state and non-state actors, are converging at Culture Hall, hapo kwa Ministry of Youth. And the day will be celebrated there. We are also here to create awareness. For example, as I'm here, I'm also speaking on behalf of all the other friends who are out there. We are having health talks. There is also legal clinics so that these persons can be well informed and enlightened on their rights. For the rest of us ambao tuko normal, kama mimi, kama wewe, ondegwensi ogotegerera. Tigabamanyina, those people who are disabled, who are able differently, they are our sisters, they are our brothers, they are our children, they are our relatives. So let us embrace them and treat them right.
Now, komenya konyoranga omontonaro labda bwe tomire with the challenges by theory. Abakonyora nawe montore able differently osomre nonyo kolire engineering. But one noene kerate tuku bid noene atenda babuli egansanga pya gocha wikapara chikoranga kiko goto yomuru. Kwanyoranga even chances zinawapita, opportunities zinawapita because there is that one person who decides to look at how your body looks like, not the brain that went to class from maybe class pako kafika mali wifika like the rest really did. And kwa mnyakonyoranga bado nueva rabo bako esoki bacha bateba, and it is very rare to get someone with disability even being voted for. Now you get watapata nominated positions. Now, like even the representation of different persons with leadership or with jobs, it is becoming hard, and it is taking time for people to understand that part. Why do people choose that path?
No, what I know right now, even in the procurement, act, there are tenders that are reserved for specific groups. In fact, the government can advertise, even the county government can advertise for certain jobs. And then you'll find in the jobs there is the open tender. That one is open for anyone, whether male, female, disabled, whichever, youth, that's open. Then they will always go to specific, they can have open, then they will have youth, so that one is reserved for youth only. They would have PWD, that one is reserved for anybody who is PWD, and so on. So I think in terms of laws, formulation of laws, I think government has really factored in these groups. The only question is, when the jobs are advertised, the company could be owned by a PWD, simply because somebody could take this person telling you, I want you to register this, but the person behind the job may not be a PWD. Just like people have asked, there are tenders that are reserved for women, but the person who ends up doing the job sometimes is not the woman. It is just another man who is in a position of influence who would still use a woman to do the jobs. So we continue to create awareness. We continue to create awareness so that people can embrace this group. And in regard to voting, Kisi, we are not doing well. Because
voting for a woman is
precisely. we can't even seem to vote for a woman. We can't even embrace. Hata mimi sasa Magdalene nitoke hapo nje niseme nataka kwenda kutafuta kura kwetu basi. Niseme ninaenda and I want to run for MP, not even woman rep. The first question they will ask, nani amire? Oye kanyi amire? Age ndari hivuaye. You see? Then they will ask, oye kanyi amire? Ikiawe chakotiki igaiga. You know, Musubati, Ungusu Muku, Gaspo Tiari, again that you will women rep. So, when I say my mama wapambane peke yao, we are not at a good place.
And let me tell you, if the position of a woman representative was to be opening up Jordan as a represent women, be it a man or
it
a
would
woman,
go.
Hakuna mwanamke aliona hiyo kitu ya women.
It would go.
Let me tell you, no woman would see that seat ya women.
It would go. But also know this. Some of the violence that is perpetrated against women is perpetrated by the same women.
Yes.
For example, female genital mutilation. As much as tunataka kusema kwamba wanaume are behind it, but the people on the front line, the ones who are taking the daughters for circumcision, the ones who say it is our culture and it has to go on, ni wanawake. Beginning with grandmothers, mothers, aunties, mothers-in-laws. Exactly. One holiday, abana bakesana ba 5 years. Because sasa wamerealize ya baba nene nko nyako baba enlightened. So they have gone to a younger age group, those who do not know how to speak. They don't even know what the clitoris is. Abubo ndio wanaendelea kusara. So some of these forms of violence are perpetrated by women. There is what you call infanticide. You know, you spoke about the killing of women in the Gulf. You go to countries like India, Pakistan, and the like, even China. There are countries that have had infanticide on the high. This is where a woman conceives, and then anenda what you call ultrasound to find out the gender of the child. Akipata ni mtoto msichana anatoa kwa sababu anatafuta mvulana. You know, even here in our own country there are such cases. She conceives, husband anataka boy, so akienda akipata ni hiyo pregnancy ni msichana, anafanya nini?
Rusi.
Anatoa ako rusi because anatafuta mvulana. So hata hiyo iko infanticide iko. You know, how many women hata wale elderly wa mama wanachomwa huko kwa vile in the name of ni wachawi. Unaona? Unaona ni wachawi. So you ban them, you kill them. Inki moko baitira. Why do you kill them? Some of them are not even wachawi. Exactly. Some of them are not wachawi. Some of them tumekuja kusikia wanauawa simply because it is land related issues. She's left alone, husband ayuko alikufa kitambo, but wanakuja wanafanya nini? Wanamuua. So we have to speak against all these forms of violence that are perpetrated against women. I also want to say, men, as much as they may not suffer, particularly GBV, the physical violence, men suffer emotional and verbal violence a lot.
And sodomy is on the rise, by the way.
And sodomy, you see, perpetrated by men. You see? So it is also important to let the public know. Abasacha abangi sana gwetera bale emotional violence. Eriago chanaika nyumba nenye ndagira takweho. Na aboringa na kiyo mochiyo ndeta abantu bakirita ko silent treatment. Na sana sana inakuwa kwa sababu hana pesa. Unaona? Yule mwenye ako na pesa anaweza dictate terms and conditions. Mwenye pengine pesa imepungua, maybe ame lose kazi, that one emotional verbal violence wanaipitia sana.
I don't want to you learn from experience. You don't have to learn from your own experience. Hata yale ambayo sijayapitia nimeyasikia. Kama ulisomesha mtu kutoka form 4 ikakuja ikafanya hiyo maneno, mimi ni nani? Mbona nitoe pesa yangu?
Yeah, you don't dare.
So sometimes that is what we are doing, judgment, and that takes me to the community level. For me as a person, maybe let me say, in media since last year, maybe it is the first time I was like, 16 days of activism can bring a great impact, which as some will see. And right now we are still having the same for this year. It will be there next year. But so far, how is the community responding to the same?
I like what is happening right now.
Okay.
Previously, we were creating awareness. Now people are speaking. You know, we would find previously it was smaller groups. Now, even as we go out there, say, please respect women and girls, or please don't beat women. Men are speaking. That is the beauty of advocacy and lobbying. Because when the men are speaking, so long as they were not speaking, nobody had their voice. But now they are speaking. Watasema yeye tumewacha, lakini hata mimi angalia masilahi yetu. You know? So what are they saying? They are saying, even then, they are suffering in silence. So awareness creation is happening. The challenge that we're facing now, and most of the time, the violence that is between partners, it majorly affects young people between the ages of 19 and 35. That is where violence is highest in relationships. Wale wenye wako above 40, hata kama walisumbuana, sasa ndio mwanaume ataanza kuchapa bibi na wamezeeka pamoja. Ule mwenye anaendelea kuchapa bibi sahihi alianza kitambo. Unaona, kuna wale bado wanachapa tu mpaka wazeeke. But ule mwenye ako above 40, if they had never raised the hand against the wife, they may not start now. But younger people, and what are the predisposing factors? 1, alcohol, drugs, substance abuse. Most times, people who engage in drugs and substance abuse are more likely to perpetrate violence than people who are sober. Because already we are under the influence of something, you know. Number 2, work-related stress. People maybe they are working, the resources, pesa hakuna, akirudi kwa nyumba, alipromise ule partner wake kwamba I will treat you nicely, nitakununulia nyumba, nitakununulia gari. Sasa wameishi miaka 4-5, dalili za nyumba hazionekani, dalili za gari hazionekani. So tension ina build kwa hiyo relationship, eventually unapata mtu anafanya nini? Anaumiza mwenzake. 3, kuna those people wenye wanafanya hiyo simply because they can. Yani ile impunity. Unaona? So unapata kwa couple, mmoja ako na pesa kuliko mwingine, ama ako na uwezo kuliko mwingine, ama anatoka background yenye iko better than mwenzake. Sana sana unapata maybe a girl who is married as an orphan. Aolewe na mwanaume mwenye maybe yeye everything for him iko sawa. Unajua nishasikia cases where such a woman anakuwa mistreated na mtu anamistreat, utaenda wapi? So anabaki anamistreat. So hiyo. Then kuna culture. Unajua watu wanasemaga kimchezo hapa nje. Ati hapa kungo hapa usiiba rote banga. Nchini mbasa onye musacha ni tanga nchiti. You know, that is very strange. It was a very strange way of perceiving culture. But kuna ile cultural background ama upbringing ama assumption yenye watu wamekuwa naye, penye watu wanasema kwamba for a long time culture dictated that the woman is inferior to the man. Unaona? So because of that, kuna watu ambao culturally walikuwa wanachapa watu. Bwana angechapa baby, hiyo ilikuwa tu traditional. In fact, niliona hapa Ujaluoni, there is a man who had, he was featured some years ago when I was much younger on national television. Na mwanaume alikuwa anasema alikuwa na bibi 4 na kila bibi kulikuwa na kiboko chake. Every woman, and he would hang them kwa ukuta hivi. So he believed that he would beat the devil out of the woman. Anachapa shetani ama ujinga kudiscipline bibi. So wife number 1 alikuwa akikosea, anamwambia lala chini, anachukua kiboko chake, anamchapa. Wife number 2, wife number 3. Unajua huyu ni mtu mwenyewe ako na his own formation of culture kwa kichwa. Because he believes a woman ni mtoto. Unaona? Mwanamke ni kama mtoto, discipline yeye ndio ufanye nini? Ndio umtoe kwa ujinga. So all those zinafanya sasa hizi vitu zinaendelea. But we are at a point in time where if we do not say no, then people are dying. And that is why unaona femicide iko on the rise. Because we are tolerating. Tunasema si sawa tu mwanamke akisumbua mpe slaps kidogo. But sasa sisi wenye tunasema hivyo, we are perpetrating. Tunapatia hata yule mwenye ako na mbinu mbaya, tunampatia nguvu za kufanya anyway. Tunafanya ule kijana mwenye maybe ako huko nje mwenye alispend 50 shillings kwa msichana. Tunasema kukula fare, mtu akula fare yangu, mimi naua. Unajua unarusha comment, wewe ni nini nimerusha hiyo comment, hautaua. But yule mwenye amekusikia anaweza ua. Cause huwezi jua mental health issues zake. Ataenda na kweli kabisa akitumia msichana kapesa na huyo msichana akule maybe kama hiyo msichana mwenye anaona amesomesha na ameua. Amkataa after all that, what does he do? Anaua. So we also have to watch our tongue. Sisi ambao tuko sober kabisa, tunafaa to watch our tongue. At the same time, we have to watch what we say even on social media platforms. Not everybody has the mind to reason. Kuna watu who act based on what they see, what others say. So we have to be good role models. We spread love and we also say no to all forms of gender-based violence. No to all forms.
Wow, because time is really not on our side, and I understand no worth and end of program ya dokumenya kagoche. Thank you so much for creating time. Na kunyara kucharege meakisi TV, we are going to create now it better so that we can sit down and have this conversation, because I really have a lot of questions, especially for when we are talking about men and boys being the biggest violators of gender-based violence. When unapata caught up in the situation, we really have to have this conversation and many more within. We have 16 topics that are supposed to be talked about, by the way. But what are you looking forward? Maybe ungetaka this year ikue achieved at least from our teams zenye zinaendelea kuongelea 16 days of activism.
The biggest achievement for me would be ending femicide. The biggest. Because I'm a mother of a 19-year-old. She's in the university right now. So as a mother, I'm scared for her. I'm scared that my young girl could go on a date and not come back. I'm scared that she could be lured by a murderer and be killed just because she's a girl and just because she felt good about herself or she said no. So for me, the biggest prayer I have right now is ending femicide. I wish the entire country, because the numbers are so high, I wish everybody in the country could sit down and just reflect on that. It is the biggest threat to our daughters. We as mothers, we may have survived, but our daughters are at risk. And I tell people, let us not assume that does not affect me because I'm a man, or it does not affect me because I'm a woman. You are a mother. And if God gave you a daughter, then you should be scared. You are a man. If God gave you a daughter, then you should be scared. You see, even if they didn't give you a daughter, one day you'll be a grandfather. It could be your granddaughter. Those girls who have been killed, over 100 girls, who have been killed this year alone. They are daughters.
In 3 months.
In 3 months, yes.
3 months,
that was July.
100,
yes.
June, July, and August. July, August,
September, yes. they were 97 and even after that
100 because that day hiyo siku ikihesabu kuna mwenye alikuwa
aliuawa. So all those girls who have died up to I think last week kuna mmoja tena niliona, they are daughters.
Imekuwa kama routine daily lazima kuna msichana atapatikana mahali.
Yes, they are daughters, they are sisters to someone, they are granddaughters to someone, they are friends.
Mwingine mpaka aliamua kuboil akachemsha
akatoka na mifupa, you know. So also while we are interrogating that, let us also look at mental health. Are these people who are doing this really in the right state of mind? And that is why the conversation around gender-based violence goes so closely with mental health. Because people who are in the right state of mind hardly ever do this. Let us look at how some of these perpetrators grew up. Some of them grew up in broken homes. Some of them grew up being disturbed and tortured and mistreated. They are only a reflection of their childhood, and they never had the chance to go through counseling so that they can heal from their childhood trauma. So those are the areas that now we need to focus on.
Well, thank you so much. As we have chance studio, think viro vya umono, chinsanisa tondo chishiro nusu, na lero mete ngatira magena sana CCB studio, twakuwa n'umuntu w'Kenyamuri romono. Tewe ubwana wa usilimete kuchaka bari na madam naye ayo kwatire mugira tena n'abatu mwani bw'Gisogo, erasma na internale ngibwe karakari ndara ruskirigisi nene mu buko. Ukora indinga timba kuwereti mona, ende kota n'umwari mu director Mutonga Kenya, mwana ukamete Gisogo madam kwani.
Don't let me down, director. No.
Abisite waidi. Mwana simwe swali mwa bere mu kunyara gusanga na into mambia rera somoro bere gwenyone tigatobeto kunyara kugokorera gabo kolende yandra kubatemero bere KCTV nera mandegere iyo mugusi director Mutonga Kenya na tubatirana na ile kura sense mendi studio myemono nyasayo yo twara ikoria asante.
Thank you so much. Asante sana.
KCTV amandegere y'umugusi.